Hello. Today we're doing macarons and macaroons. We're gonna do my best attempt at an apple pie macaron to try to, welcome in the fall with some seasonal flavors. So that's gonna be fun. We're gonna try to flavor the buttercream, do a little bit of like apple pie type filling in the middle. Just see what we can get going on there. And then for the macaroons, we're gonna do a regular just coconut macaroon, and we're gonna do some chocolate macaroons. I thought about doing, coconut with regular chocolate, and then chocolate macaroons with white chocolate, like a, yin yang, white and black, kind of a black and white cookie type look. But I think I'm gonna do a double chocolate. So let's get right into it. So I've got everything ready. I think the order today we're gonna do the macarons. We're gonna get those ready. They're gonna have to sit for 30 minutes after they're piped. So we're gonna get those ready first, and then we're gonna work on our buttercream, and then hopefully we can get our macaroons ready to go in the oven. Get them oven ready right as the macarons are coming out. As they cool, we bake the others, and hopefully I've got everything sorted out. So I've got my coffee, and here we go. So to make the macarons, sorry, you're gonna hear me go back and forth between those so many times today. What we need to do first, you're gonna need to have some egg whites. So I've got mine. These egg whites have been sitting at room temperature for a little while. The cookbook I'm using actually recommends doing them at room temperature for 24 hours. All these eggs are pasteurized and everything anyway. It's not like something will not be unstable about this food if it hangs out overnight. And it's kind of goofy. Opposite the effect of cream when you're making whipped cream. With it, you cool it down, cool the bowl down, and it whips up nicely. With egg whites, if you let them come to room temperature, they get fluffier, easier, air incorporates easier. So let's see, we've got our room temperature egg whites. We've got almond flour. Now this is going to make I believe this will make about 1.5 dozen sandwiches. So we've got we've got 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. We've got 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. We've got an 1/8 cup of granulated sugar. Forgive any stalls in my measurements here. I divided everything in 2, so I'm looking at the recipe and dividing the number. And then we will need about 1/4 cup of homemade apple pie filling is what I'm going to use. The recipe calls for like raspberry jam or something. So we've got all that. The first step is to sift the almond flour and confectioner's sugar into a bowl. Let's see. Okay. Now, you can do this with your own, let's see, let me get the bowl here real quick. You can ground your own almonds instead of doing almond butter. And if you do that, it's just as easy as using a food processor. Forgive the background noise here. Kitchen is naturally set up as a maze with everything. Oh, hello, Mayor Sheriff. Yes, hello and welcome. It's me, Dave, from the Next Files. Mayor Sheriff and I are going to have some sort of session to figure out shout-outs on Streamlabs, because I would love to do a shout-out for Next Files, for Mayor Sheriff, and all the viewers, but I still have yet to figure it out. Somewhat stalled this morning because I was trying to figure that out before I went on, and I was just like, I can't do it. Can't find the commands in Streamlabs. but I am your most, your least adept. What? That's it? That's all you gotta do is exclamation point? Nightbot. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk in detail about that, because I wanted to find, a way to do the thing that says, like, oh, shout out screen name, and they've last been seen playing such and such. We need Nightbot. I need a Nightbot. Okay, so step one, we're sifting the almond flour and confectioner's sugar into a bowl, okay? And I'm gonna move my KitchenAid out of the way here. That's actually like right next to the mic, so I will change the location of that later. I don't want this to be the world's loudest thing when it goes on, but okay, so sifting our 3/4 cup of almond flour and our 1/8 cup of confectionery sugar. So you want to sift this so that you don't have any lumps, so you have a nice smooth batter when you make your macarons. And after we do this and get everything nice and sifted in there, we're going to go ahead and beat our egg whites until they're fluffy. And then once they're fluffy, we're going to gradually add some sugar in. You do it in intervals, so as to not just dump the whole thing in there all at once. And then you'll kind of do the same with your flour mixture, which I guess we probably could incorporate into a smaller bowl so it's a little easier. But kind of break this up a little bit. So you get these big clumps in there. But once it's sifted through, it's all nice and smooth. We just got a couple little lumps here. And I just have a sieve. I don't have a straight up, full-on sifter. Though those are really nice. I just don't happen to have one of those. And you know what? I'll hold off. I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon on the top of these once they're piped. But I am going to add some spice. This is just basically like apple pie spice. It's nutmeg, ginger, and cinnamon. So you got about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and ginger. And I'm going to put that with some ground up freeze-dried apples into the buttercream, and hopefully that'll give like the apple pie flavor. I'm really excited to try that out. So I'm going to shift things around just a little bit here, so like I said, so I'm not blowing up the microphone. But what I want to do, let's get this KitchenAid front and center. Not sponsored, by the way. Here we go. Okay. Now do me a favor, if this is too loud or disturbing in any way, please just let me know, and I will turn down or mute the mic temporarily. Let's see here. These little feet on the KitchenAid always come off when I'm putting it away too. I'd like to keep it out permanently, but you just don't always have the space for something like that. These things are pretty large. Okay, where are you? There it is. Okay. We got our little feet attached. Next step, put on your whisk attachment on your KitchenAid, or use a hand mixer. You can do that just the same. Some of those come with whisking tips as well, which are really nice. And I am going to sift this. I'm going to sift this almond flour mix just one more time, because I want it to be super smooth. I want to have a nice silky smooth batter for these macarons. I don't want them to be lumpy or anything. And we may need this bowl again later, so I'm going to set that down. Okay, let's get this going one more time. I don't know if they use anything to stop any caking with almond flour, but I imagine that the oils from the almonds probably make it clump just a little bit. But this is gonna look really nice. This is like powder fine, super smooth. And that's exactly what we want. We want a nice, fully processed, very smooth, sifted material to go into these egg whites when they're ready. Nothing, the biggest thing is just making sure that nothing disrupts all that air that you work into the egg whites. And we have the luxury of having some kind of machine do that, but I can imagine beforehand, I can only imagine what a bummer that must be to a person who just worked so hard to get these egg whites, stiffened by hand, and then all the air comes out, Don't you hate when that happens? Okay. Do. Oh, you know what? We goofed. We added our almond flour and granulated sugar when we should have added the confectioner sugar to the almond flour. So that was a supreme goof. Now because of the way this has to go together, I'll have to put this off to the side for now and repurpose that later. I believe I have enough to give it one more go. No more playing around here. No more goofing. All right. So one sift to roll them all. As I said, we're gonna need. This originally called for 1 1/3 cups, so I'm gonna need 1/2 and 1/6 cups of almond flour. I think we've got just enough to make this happen. I'm very happy that we caught that then, though, because that would not have turned out well. Okay, almond flour's back. Glad we caught that. We got our sifter here. Let's see, where will we put this for now? We're gonna set that there. And we've got our, should be 1 cup of confectioner sugar. Let's try this one more time. Confectioner sugar in here, almond sugar in here. We're going to sift this all together. The magic. I thought it was kind of strange for a minute. I was like, I thought that you added the granulated sugar to the eggs, and you do. That was a close call. Plus, this is a much... Before it looked nice, but this is much more powdery, even smoother looking mix here. And plus, you get a little more of that fun exercise of slapping the the sieve. Break up this almond a little bit. I want that to go through. You can get it through there. Part of the reason I did macarons today and macaroons is because we had a few unopened, or a few open things of coconut flakes. It's like, well, we'll make some macaroons, but macaroons come together so quickly. I kind of wanted to do something that takes a little bit of extra effort too. So thought, why stop there when we can do both of them? So we're sifting this a second time into a smaller bowl as closely as we can get it. We're getting a little bit on the outside, but I think we're not going to lose too much of it. But yeah, we're putting this in a smaller bowl so that macaroni, no macaroni today. Mayor Sheriff did suggest macaroons, macarons, and macaroni, which truly would have been the holy trinity of cooking experiences. You know, you make a roux, you cook some noodles, but unfortunately I did not have time for macaroni. I was too busy thinking about extraterrestrials. Like each time you run the stuff through the sieve, you get a little bit of leftover, meal from the almonds. Oh man, this is almost like a liquid. That's so smooth. Okay, so set this stuff to the side for a second. Gonna wipe up this last little bit here. Get it all cleaned up. Okay. We have our egg whites. Oh, I forgot. We need to get our sugar again since we mixed our previous sugar into the wrong thing. Okay. So we need 1/8 cup of granulated sugar, and that is 2 tablespoons. So we're gonna do 1 tablespoon. 2 tablespoons. Okay. Well, mind your ears. We're gonna get this, these egg whites mixing. Let's see if I can give a better look at that on the camera. That's probably pretty good. So we're gonna get these egg whites mixing. Once they start to get fluffy, I'll show a little bit to the camera, but to the overhead here. But once they start to get fluffy, I'll lift this thing up. See, does that go in front of the? Okay. I'll lift this thing up and I'll show you what they look like, and then we'll gradually add in some of the granulated sugar. Okay? So here we go. Just want this thing to be frothed all the way over, bubbles everywhere. It's got a little bit of a peak going in there. It's probably because there's not that many eggs, but that's about the point where we can add in this sugar gradually. So we're going to do that over here as it goes. So we're gonna look for this. This should be, I mean, look, like it's pretty stiff. It's staying stuck to those, staying stuck to the whisk pretty well. They say you should be able to lift it over your head. I'm sure that I could, but we got this little ball rolling around in there. That's good though. It's got plenty of air. This is about the way you want it. It's got a nice silky kind of look on the top. So no matter which way you turn it, it really, I'm sure aside from that ball that's kind of rolling around a little bit in there from the whisk, that stuff would stick in the bowl just fine. So we are going to incorporate our almond mixture. I've got a little pit bull hanging out with me in here. She's my little sous chef. Okay, we're going to incorporate our almond mixture in here. I'm going to gradually add a little bit. And then, let's see, let's move this KitchenAid guy again. So here's what you do. You add about a third. Then you just go through. You don't want too much of the air to move. So you're just kind of going around and then cutting through this batter that you made. Do a little bit more. Probably do the rest of it. So this stuff, when it's good and ready, you're going to put into a piping bag. And that's what our top right camera is today. It is our piping station. As I said, you want to be mindful of the, be mindful of it, be gentle with the mix as you're going through. Try to be as gentle as I can and maintain some of this fluff. I think also because I have the recipe, that there's just a little bit of it's maybe a little bit harder to work with because there's a small amount, but I think we're pretty much there. Still a very light mix. Our almond flour and confectioner sugar has just been mixed in. Hey there, Hurrytron. Oh, thanks very much, Mayor Sheriff. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got our egg whites, granulated sugar, almond flour, confectioner sugar. We've pretty much got everything we need. This is what's in a macaron. So yeah, let's get into the piping bag, and then we're going to go over to the piping cam here, and we're going to pipe them. Okay, I think because the recipe that I was using said it was for, it said it made 30 macarons. Now that's kind of a loaded statement because 30 macarons could be 30 sandwiches, or it could be 30 macaron shells, which means 15 sandwiches. So in having that, I've either given us enough to make 15 sandwiches or 15 individual shells. So we'll find out. So as I've done before, we've kind of got our little baking trick. Oh no, we lost just a little bit. This is like liquid gold right now. And trust me, this counter has got the cleanest standards. This is a live broadcast after all. Okay. So we got almost all of our mix here. No! We are narrowly avoiding disaster today. Couple spills. Persevere, huh? Yeah. So we lost about a macaron worth. And we will continue. Okay, so this is the bag that I used for my custard in a couple of streams ago, and it really saw some rough times. This thing got beat up, so there's little bubbles here and there on it that just from the pressure of that stuff. But what we're gonna do, now that we have our piping bag ready, we've got our mix in there, still gonna be pretty gentle with it, I'm gonna move over to the piping cam, and I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of water in a little cup here, because the trick is, when you're piping these, you want them to have a flat top. But if you get a peak, what you're going to want to do is dab your finger with a little bit of water, and then you're going to want to press it down just a little bit. So here we go. So we don't really want these peaks, right? Right now I'm just kind of getting used to the consistency of the batter. Don't know how much. These things probably won't spread out too much. I still want them to be similar to each other in size. Hurrytron, thank you for joining again. I appreciate you stopping in for the bagels last week. They turned out great. A couple of the plain ones, and I think this was from me messing with them while they were boiling, did not cook fully on the inside ring. And that was the only goof, and to be honest, I'm totally okay with it. First attempt at bagels, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just experimental, right? Let's try and get this one last one here. Okay, so this should give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sandwiches, which is pretty good. Now we're going to take our little cup of water here. Just going to dab our finger and get rid of some of these points. You do not want these points. You want a nice little dome. Now after all of these points have been removed, first what I'm going to do is do just a little bit. I'm just going to put a tiny, tiny dab of cinnamon in a sifter, or in my sieve, and I'm going to dab this cinnamon over all of these little guys because I want these to look like, I want them to have just that nice little sprinkle of cinnamon on top so that you have just a tiny taste of that when you're eating this apple pie macaron, right? Okay, so we got our cinnamon here. I'll have to clean up this mess. That was a goof. Okay, here we go. So we've got our special, very handy dandy cinnamon here. And this has got a little sprinkler thing on top, so I think I'll follow my gut and I'll just do I'll do the sifter still. I've just got about an 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon in this sieve, and I'm going to go over all of these. Hopefully this will have a really nice presentation when it's done. I really don't know. I've never done this. I don't want to add too much, but you do let these rest for about 30 minutes to let them set up before they go in the oven. So I'm hoping that somehow this cinnamon will help in that process too. Okay, piping can. And it might actually just help hide a couple of the inconsistencies between the rest of them. So I'm not going to argue with that. So I'm going to set a quick timer. These have been sitting for about 5 minutes anyway. So I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes. And in about 10 minutes, at 10:45, we are going to get our oven preheated. I've already got our other baking sheet waiting over there for the macaroons, so we'll start on those soon. Soon to macaroon. Let's see. So we've lined our baking sheet with parchment paper. We've smoothed the peaks. These will bake for 12 to 15 minutes, and we'll cool them completely. But what is the oven at? Let's see. this current cookbook I'm using. That is like my only critique, is for some reason, and I think this is like a personal pet peeve, is I feel like some recipes and cookbooks don't have the temperature front and center. Okay, so these will heat at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit because I don't want the heat coming out of the vent to cause any inadvertent cooking. I don't think they'll cook too much, 300 degrees for 15 minutes. Okay, so let's do a quick cleanup here. We're going to get this mess taken care of, and then we're going to get started on the macaroons. Okay, so we'll be right back. We'll go ahead and leave the screen on for just a minute. This should just take a moment. Just a moment. Get all the sounds of the kitchen here. All your favorite tunes. You got the sink going in the background. Soothing sound of Dave's kitchen sink. Okay, getting this bowl washed out. This is what they call theater of mind in D&D, right? Like where in D&D you would have a soundtrack going in the background, playing what's going on. Right here, you've got the live action. These are real kitchen sound effects you're getting. Okay. Alright, so we've cleaned out our KitchenAid. Yes. Yes. R.I.P. to the macarons that didn't quite make it into the piping bag. That really broke my heart. I was slightly worried, so I was like, well, I'm using this little tall cup or this little small cup instead of the tall one I normally would. It should be fine. And then disaster struck. I can tell looking at these macaron shells, I can tell that about half of them, 3/4 of them are going to be really nicely shaped, and that a few of them probably not so much, and that's okay. R.I.P. R.I.P. baby. Alright, so let's see here. We're going to get this KitchenAid back front and center. Let's go ahead and turn it a little bit. And get the bowl back on, because we're going to switch gears to the... Here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch gears to the macaroons, and then we are going to switch gears to the apple pie buttercream that we're going to make. There's a lot of gears we're going through. You ever seen Fast and Furious? This is something like that, okay? Except a little bit slower, and probably a little bit kinder, less furious. But there's a lot of gear shifting, just like Fast and Furious. Okay. Macaroons. These are not terribly difficult to make, so if you're just now tuning in, this is a great time because, let's see here. I'm going to get this mixed together, but honestly, all you need to know is how to mix this stuff together. You'll see the ingredients, you'll see me toss it all together in 5 minutes or so. Of course, I did a little prep. I'll split it up into 2 bowls. Easy peasy, but all you need to see is this gathering of ingredients, and then you pretty much be good to do it on your own. You don't need to see the baking, but you can hang around. I'd really love to have you join me. But yeah, so for this, our oven has to be 350. We're going to do that after we bake the macaron shells. Really, I think you just mix everything together. You're going to beat the egg whites until they're frothy, mix in the rest of the ingredients until the coconut's coated. Then you bake for how long? Yeah, bake for 15 minutes, cool them, and then you dip in chocolate. Okay? So, let me bring the ingredients front and center here for everybody. Our ingredients include 3 cups of coconut, 1 cup of sugar, 1 pinch of salt, 3 egg whites, and I believe 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Alright? So these egg whites did not sit overnight like the macaron egg whites, but they're not as important to hold their shape, right? This is all just getting meshed together. So we're going to take 3 egg whites, toss it in the KitchenAid, and let's see how stiff do we want these egg whites. Lightly beat until with the sugar until frothy. Okay. So this, you can put the sugar on in there with it. So that's great. No, careful steps or anything. Just get the stuff mixed up. Put the lock on, and let's go. Extract to the KitchenAid. As I said, we'll separate these two. Let's see. Okay, we're waiting until it gets just a little bit frothy. Frothy the snowman. Pretty frothy. Everything was pretty evenly mixed. Okay, so we're good on that. We can move this whisk attachment out of the picture. Out of the picture. Let's see, where is our handy dandy spatula? Ooh, where did you go, spatula? Washed it and forgot about it. Okay. So, we've got our sugar and egg white mix right here. We're going to pour it into the coconut mix. So we've got our vanilla extract in there as well. But yeah, we've got coconut, beat egg whites, no This is a nice recipe because there's nothing super difficult about it. In particular, like the macarons. Macaroons are their happy-go-lucky, easy-going kind of cousin. Second cousin, maybe. And actually, I'm going to do a little bit of chocolate for the chocolate macarons. So I'm going to get this going in the microwave 30 seconds at a time. And we're going to give that a stir after it's been in there for 30 seconds. Repeat that. That's how you get some quick, nicely melted chocolate. Okay, everything's coming together for these. It smells great too. I love that smell of coconut. One point to make, if you're doing macaroons and all you have is sweetened coconut, because unsweetened coconut is kind of hard to find, at least for me it is. 30 more seconds. If you only have sweetened coconut, just do a half cup of sugar instead of 1 cup. I think I said I did 1 cup earlier, but I've got a half cup of sugar in there because all I had was sweetened coconut. But we're pretty much there. If you're not gonna do chocolate macaroons, like I said, I'm splitting mine in 2. Then this mix is all you need. You got 3 egg whites, half cup of sugar, 3 cups of sweetened coconut, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract with a pinch of salt. Mix it all up after the egg and sugar mix is good and frothy. And then you can go ahead and pop that stuff in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. Let it cool, and you can add a little chocolate at the bottom. You don't even have to do the chocolate at the bottom. It's just that easy. Okay, you see this is getting a little melty. We're not there yet. Take your fork out of the cup. Okay, do 30 more minutes, all right? Now I have to use a different fork. Throwaway culture. Here's a fun behind the scenes. All of my electrical equipment and computer stuff is back there, right over there. Hey, Daddy Dino. What's up? I'm glad you're having a good time. Hello, Sergeant Power Glove. Hi, diddly ho there, neighborino. I don't know if I mentioned on this ever, but one of my first experiences after going to just a mustache instead of the beard, which going back for the beard again if I can help it, was going into a local bar and hearing somebody say, "Hey, Ned Flanders!" Hello. That was pretty good. Okay, here's our melted chocolate. All right? And that was only 1.5 minutes, so no double boiler, none of that stuff. And we got a nice little thing of chocolate. We're gonna do a similar thing when these are baked and we dip them in chocolate too. It'll be like repeat, right? Okay. So we need just a little bit of cocoa powder for the ones that we're gonna make that are chocolate. And I think we're about ready to, oven's preheating. Okay, good, we're good. Okay, so this says you're gonna add 1/4 cup of cocoa powder for the chocolate ones, but I'm only doing half of the mix, right? So, half of the mix here, we got about half of the mix here. Maybe do just a little bit more. Okay, so these are all good to go, and these I will put in a little mounds, put them on a baking sheet, and they'll be ready. These, on the other hand, are going to need a little bit of chocolate. So, put a little bit of chocolate on top. Like I said, I'm going to do about a tablespoon, heaping tablespoon of cocoa powder on these. Okay, let me go ahead and switch so you can see the whole mixing action. And let's get the rest of the chocolate out of this cup too, huh? The real life Flanders. Yeah, I'm not nearly as religious as that guy though. That's definitely I wish I was as ripped as that guy. Have you seen Ned Flanders without a shirt? Oh my gosh. Like I feel like he really is like the perfect man. I mean, in some ways, I'm sure you can pull a clip right now that disproves that, but you know, that's the fun of the internet. Okay, so this is all mixed up. We got our nice chocolatey. Ooh yeah, these double chocolate macaroons with some standard chocolate dipped macaroons. Got a good thing going here. Now this is a messy but fun process. So if anybody out there, I mean, I have not done any baking with my niece or nephew, and I love them both. But that's one thing that I've neglected to do. That, you know, I hear people say like, oh, if you have kids, it's fun to bake this with them because it's messy and fun and not, you know, too touchy. I would say that about these things. It hasn't been kid tested, but I would say it's probably pretty fun. Okay, so similar to our piping station we had over here, I'm going to take this other prepared baking sheet. Okay. Oh, excuse the noise, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, and then really, you just take about, you know, just take a little handful, maybe enough to fill your palm or so. This, if I were to measure it, it's about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit, maybe a heaping tablespoon is what I'm using. You can form them into a ball. They don't have to be pretty. So like, really, I just kind of like to form it into a nice shape in my hand before I get it to the baking tray, if I can help it. And then just get it over there, right? And I know I don't have to be fancy, but I think one thing I'm gonna do is I think I'm going to do chocolate in the middle, do regular chocolate, just so that when we take it out of the oven, it's gonna look nice and presentable. There's no one judging our work, only our taste buds. So this is like the exact opposite of what you're gonna of the care you're going to see with the macarons, right? Like the macarons are this beautiful, delicate, precise French pastry thing, and then you got the macaroons that are fun and arguably just as tasty. Doop, doop, doop. It's looking like, how have I made? Oh yeah, I have. Have you made macaroons before, Sergeant Power Glove? I think I've probably only made them twice. I've made macarons and macaroons both, but I think I've made the French counterpart a little more often. Okay, we're going back. We're gonna do the chocolate, and then we're gonna go rinse our hands off one more time. Oh yeah. These little concoctions are gonna be tasty. Honestly, it feels like I've put them together with like sweetened condensed milk or something. They're just like syrupy. I mean, there's no butter in them or anything like that, so they're not gonna spread. So I think what I'm gonna do is have them, you know, pretty close to each other. Let's see how much. Oh, okay, yeah, you can see that from the overhead. I gotta say too how happy I am. This is probably my third stream since I've been a little more consistent with these with these things. I've switched over to doing Sundays, and I think that's kind of going to be my day for baking. But yeah, I can't say how happy I am that I'm finally much quicker at getting my setup together. It takes me about 15-20 minutes now. The only holdup I had this morning was that right before I got everything set, I for some reason I went to move my extension cord and I pressed the kill switch, and I don't know why. I just grabbed it. Just my brain went button, and that was it. But as you can see, it was a smooth recovery. So move my stuff over here, get this all rinsed out, washed out. And we're rinsing our bowl out. We're getting our rubber spatula cleaned off again. I think if I had like 10 of these, I would probably be set, but it keeps you humble to go back and wash the thing every couple minutes. So we're washing out the thing, doing the thing. Cleaned out. Cleaned out. We're going to do a quick run of the garbage disposal. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to my garbage disposal. Power. Alright. So getting everything cleaned up here. Going back around. We're doing good. We've got our chocolate and standard, just coconut macaroons set up. Looks like some of them are a little small, but that's okay. I'm gonna pop this in the fridge for now, and then we will bake these after the macarons. Finding a spot in the fridge is never easy. Almost got it. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. No crash, no bang. Okay. We're coming along. We got our macaron shells are piped in the top right camera there. They've got a little touch of cinnamon on top. They're setting up right now. They need to set at room temperature for about 30 minutes, and I think they're doing a good job. This had some egg whites in it. I think I will take this out and give it a good one over, because we're about to make the buttercream for our macarons. There's the timer for our macarons. They are ready to go in. Just get this guy dried out. And then macaroni. Mayor Sheriff, I will raid your channel if you get some macaroni going by the time this is done, and we will complete this holy trinity of M's. Yeah, we're ready to go in. Let's take one final look at our instructions to make sure we didn't miss anything on the macarons. But I'm feeling pretty good about those. I've made them a couple times before, relatively confident. 12 to 15 minutes, and then we'll take them out and cool them. That should be enough time for us to get our apple pie buttercream going. He says no, dog. That's a no for me. Fair. Okay. We're gonna do 13 minutes in the oven for these. Alright. 13 minutes going now. We got a couple dishes we need to put to the side. But we gotta keep this train rolling because I wanna get this buttercream done. So we're getting all our measuring cups, forks, whisks, piping bags, everything getting washed out right now, cleaned out, everything getting nice and prepared for the next step. Now, similar to last week's trials, events, whatever you would call them, similar to last week's events, when I tried making the white cheddar honey walnut bagels. Still got that stream up if you want to see it. I got a couple, gotta make a little clip of it. That was a 5-hour stream. But, buttercream trains rolling into the station. That's right, I'm your captain. So, yeah, similar to those wacky bagels, this is another thing where I'm kind of at the point where I'm trying to be a little bit more brave, take a few more chances with my cooking. So I decided to take a couple of tricks that I've learned from some friends at work. One of which she makes a super awesome raspberry chocolate cupcakes, and she puts dehydrated raspberries in her buttercream, and it's like the perfect, not too wet, perfect consistency. So I'm gonna try to do that same thing with some freeze-dried apples. Let's see what happens with this. So, step one, get this guy out of the way so that I can get these apples going. So step one will be as follows. I'm going to take my handy dandy food processor. I'm going to grind up some apple. We got these dehydrated apples here. Now I realize that these have skin on the outside. I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. I'm going to use probably a pretty small portion of this finished product, but I think it's such a good method it's just worth trying. So, forgive the noise, just a couple of grinds here. Just set the food processor to puree. Boy, does that smell like apples. Apple fumes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. Good stuff. Choo choo, Mother Baker. Or Martha Vaca. Okay. So, got our powdered apple off to the side. I've got some cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger that I'm going to add to the buttercream, but I'm going to wait for 1 second, okay? So let's get this food processor out of the way. And I guess I should keep in mind that we can kind of take our time with this because we still have to bake those macaroons. See, I've got a little bit of chocolate that's going to go back in that bowl later for some dipping. Okay, so time for vanilla buttercream. Vanilla buttercream is not terribly difficult to make, and it's a lot of fun, and it's always worth the time and effort. A little bit of preparation will get you there. So for ours, I've got some room temperature butter. I'm going to use 4 tablespoons or half a stick. Now what I typically like to do is warm the butter or put the butter at room temperature for like an hour or 2 to where it's still kind of cool to the touch. This is a little bit warmer than that. But the reason I like to do that is because I find it's just, it holds a shape nicer. It doesn't get it doesn't get too soft too quick. And sometimes you want that extra bit of time while you're making this stuff. You know, you need a little bit of a grace period. Okay. So there's our 4 tablespoons of butter in. And just to be a good sport and follow the same process I've been following before, we're going to go ahead and double check our little recipe here, make sure I'm not overlooking anything. Cream the butter, gradually work in half the sugar, then the rest of the sugar, then the cream. So this is probably going to make about 2 cups of vanilla buttercream, okay? Creaming the sugar, it'll get a little bit lighter because of the air that it takes in. We're going to cream it at about medium high. And if you have a guard for your KitchenAid, it's very helpful for things like this. There will also be a teaspoon of vanilla extract that goes in. So first we're going to go sugar, a little bit at a time. Mix gets a little heavier. Things will start to shake like in Jumanji. Add just a little bit. We got 2 tablespoons of cream. Add that in. We're going to add our vanilla. And pretty soon, see what you got. Heyo. That's vanilla buttercream. Okay. Now, the real quest is to successfully transform our vanilla buttercream into an apple pie buttercream. After which we're going to make a little bit of homemade apple pie filling, which is going to get placed on the inside of these macarons. Oh yeah, it's nice and smooth. That's great. Gotta get this officially taste tested. Okay. It's been officially taste tested. It's good. Not too sweet. Not too, buttery. Just right in the middle. Vanilla buttercream. Now I think everything else I'm going to add with a rubber spatula. And let me get this area kind of cleaned out just a little bit. I'm going to move some of the things I'm not using anymore. Get everything straightened out. Now I've seen some recipes that call for it, and actually I think it's probably good to add just like a tiny bit of salt. We're talking like half a pinch, okay? Okay, so we're moving all this stuff over. We're gonna get rid of our dishes that we don't need. We're gonna get rid of the butter. We're good on that for now. Probably gonna do a quick little wipe up of the area. Gotta keep a clean working area. Helps you stay, I think a focused, clean work area keeps you focused mentally as well, or at least it does me, so that's what we're rolling with. That's the idea we're going with here. Okay, we don't really need these bowls as I thought we would have. That's all clean. Okay, got a puppy. I got a pit bull under my feet again. Okay. Could have creamed the butter just a little bit more. It was definitely the right temperature, but I think this will be all right. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit of apple. We're gonna add spices, and I think we might just do tiny bit more butter. So we're going in like mad scientist mode here, okay? Okay, so we've got our cinnamon, our ground apple, emaciated apple. Sure looks like it's apple pie flavored, doesn't it? Let's try just the tiniest bit of that. I think we can go with the rest of the apple. And I think I think this is okay. Like I said, we're kind of going rogue here. So I ended up adding that entire bag of apple. And I think this will be enough frosting to fill our 12 sandwiches. Okay, so let's try just a little bit more of that. Okay, there's a timer for our macarons. About ready to come out. If it's tangy and yellow, gotta juice the fella. If it's clear and brown, you're in cider town. Wise words. That's a good way to get to the core of the subject. Huh? Huh? Let's see. I think I'm giving those just like 2 more minutes. Admittedly, they're not 100% perfect. I think a couple of them may have cracked, but I think some are going to look really, really nice. So, let's go 2 more minutes. Let's try a tiny bit more of this. I think that'll be nice. And I think what's next is we're going to go ahead and on the stovetop, we're going to make some quick apple pie mix. And this is part where we're going rogue. We're not using the book, okay? Take a bit out of that one. Take a bite out of that one. Or a bit. One of these a day. is chopped apples? Alright, we are yet again going to cut and core and do this. Now this, we're going to do just quick. Gotta get it over with. We are peeling one Honeycrisp apple. This is the same kind of apple I would use if I were making a pie. This is actually the same kind of apple that I used while I was making a tart a couple of weeks ago. It's nice, it's tart. It goes well with any of those spices that you're going to use to make some kind of pie. Sugar's not going to make it too sweet. Okay, there's the timer. Macaroons coming out. Now I'll show you on the overhead cam real quick. Now we're going to let these cool completely on the tray. But I think most of them look very nice. Okay, I can see just a tiny bit of pillowing underneath on the bottoms of some of these. Most of them have smooth tops, only a little bit of cracking. I think there's probably two, maybe three sandwiches out of the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so out of the 12 sandwiches, I think 3 of which had a crack or something in them. But that's okay, because I think, 1, I know they're going to taste good, and 2, yeah, it just doesn't matter. You're having fun. You're doing a thing. Okay, so let's get the core out of these apples with our brand new Ginsu brand knives. Super sharp, which is why you gotta be super careful when you're on a super stream. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Get off that last little bit of skin there. Just getting the skin off. Now, if you were waiting at all, I would say go ahead and put these in some lemon juice. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little butter in a pan. And as I said, I'm going rogue here. Turn our oven up. Oven's up to 350 for the macaroons. We're going to give that 15 minutes as we work on our pie spice. I'm going to use some brown sugar, some cinnamon, some nutmeg. Got cinnamon, got nutmeg, got a brown sugar. Scan the barcode if you'd like. And I'm going to get this apple down into little teeny tiny pieces. Oh, you can't even see it now, can you? That's half the fun. Knowledge is power. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to get this apple down to teeny tiny pieces. Little itty bitty pieces. Because I'm going to cook it down in this butter, add those spices. There we go. See? And after I'm done with that, we got the butter hot. There we go. Apples going in. Core's going out. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. This is per 1 apple, by the way. So we're doing 1. Yeah, let's do 1. 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. I'm going to do about a teaspoon of cinnamon, which is a third of a tablespoon. And we're going to do half a teaspoon, or a sixth of a tablespoon of nutmeg. And this is going to be what flavors our apple pie spice. Alright, so we're closing those guys up. Closing up shop. Alright, apples are cooking down a little bit. Go ahead and mix this up some. There we go, we got kind of an apple pie mix set up there. I'm going to put it over here, and in the end, we're going to use the sieve to get that juice out, but we're not going to use the pieces of apple because this is going as like a jam in our macarons. Alright, putting some stuff away here. Putting away our brown sugar and our spices. You know, for the record, if you do work with anybody who, or know anybody who is a baker, cook, or anything like that, I think really fancy spices is a really nice gift to give somebody. Let me take a quick coffee break. Apples are cooking down. Got some butter. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm trying to think. Adding just a little bit of water to this because I want kind of a sauce to come out of there. I want those apples to have a nice environment to cook coffee with Dave. That's right. You want a nice environment for those apples to cook up in. As you can see, they're up in the... There we go. They're up there cooking. Old Faithful's taking a short break. As am I. I think our next step here is, like I said, I put a couple of things away because I think the next step is to get these macarons cooling down and to get our macaroons into the oven. I believe the macaroons are 15 minutes. Let's check on that and see. Macaroons are 15 minutes, okay. And those will cool for 30 after they come out, but don't worry about that. Okay, let's get our cooling rack positioned. Those are not artificial sound traps. These sound effects are real. The chaos and screeching. It's the real deal. You know what? I'm almost thinking about emulsifying this in that food processor. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, now a good point to make. When these are really, really ready, first take, right? No resistance. Got a pale golden bottom there. Got a little bit of pillowing on the sides, on the bottom. That is what we like to see, okay? So I'm going to take our less beautifully shaped ones, and they'll sit kind of in the corner here, but I will get back to them. And let's see, it looks like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of our sandwiches didn't turn out quite like we wanted, but I still think they're salvageable. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these. Move it onto the cooling rack. As I said, you want to wait probably another 15, 20, even 30 minutes before you move over to the next step in your macarons. I think I'm just going to make a video of all the times I say macarons. Okay. So, these are all cooling on a rack off to the side. We've got our KitchenAid, I believe, has done all it's needed to do today, so you have done a great job, KitchenAid, but your time has come to an end. Okay. So, because all this had in it was dehydrated apple, it's fine. We're going to go ahead and reuse this. And we're going to get creative. We're going to blend up this mix that we made. Let's see. I'm going to find our elusive rubber spatula. It was in the apple buttercream. Got apple, apple, apple going on today. Okay, so apple pie mix, homemade, into the emaciator. Okay. Now we're going to blend this up. There we go. Okay, on puree, let's go. Let's see. Try to push it down a little bit. Blended up into just a tiny enough, smooth enough thing. I would have liked it to be like completely smooth, but I don't think I can get that. But I think this will be good enough to spoon into the middle of little piped rings on our macarons. So piping cam is going to have that going in no time. But we are ready to bake our macaroons, okay? These are going in for 15 minutes. Okay, timer. If I can get it going. Timer, 15, let's do, 15 minutes. And let's clean up this area just a little bit, because what's next is going to blow your mind. Let's see. Get this guy locked. Oh. KitchenAid appliances weigh a lot. You gotta be super strong like me to move one. So strong. Like so unbelievably strong. How are we looking here? We're clearing it out. We're getting there. Whoa! We got knives flying everywhere. Okay. Buttercream, check. Apple stuff, Check. Set this guy there. Do do do. Skeedo doop a dee-ow. Skeep a deep a dap a doo doo. Skeep doo 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 doo. We're gonna move this knife very carefully. Don't stab the dog. Whatever you do, don't stab your dog. Really don't stab a dog. Okay. Alright, so I've got another reusable piping bag fitted with a tiny star tip here. You can see that outside of the reflection of the light. This is the kind of tip you're going to want. So, I'm going to place this. Now this is like the official way of getting buttercream into your piping bag, right? Make a little lip for your hand to fit into and pray that you don't knock it over on your first try. Which, depending on how much you pray, you may or may not be successful. So this is our apple pie buttercream. In it we've got about, this is additional to the buttercream. In it we've got about maybe 2 tablespoons worth of, maybe a tablespoon worth of apple pie spices. Got a little bit of skin there going on. Nice, nice. I do not know how pretty this will be. I really hope that it's presentational. I hope that it looks nice and elegant like most macarons do, as most French pastry does. French baking, you know. But if it looks a little messy, maybe that's the apple pie part of the equation, right? So we'll use a spoon. Spoon just a tiny bit of this. Let's see, how well is this going to come out? I think this stuff will move pretty smoothly. Fingers crossed. Okay. Let's go ahead and get working on these guys. So we've got about 11 minutes to get all these nicely piped, and I fully believe we can do that. Usually, kind of in my second go-round, what I like to do, as I flip these onto a new surface to be piped, I like to kind of prepare them next to one that looks like it's going to be a good fit, size-wise. That way you're not scrambling. Okay, now we're kind of getting in the misshapen ones near the end. Okay, it's piping time. So every other row is going to get a little bit of this stuff piped on. hit a small snag. I don't think that this piping bag is going to work. The tip seems like it's just a little bit too small. So we're going to switch to a more open tip. Okay, let's try this one and see. Oh, that's two of them. This one seems like it's just a little bit more open. This is a K45. That's one thing I really do like about the reusable piping bags, aside from the fact that you can use them more than once, which is ideal. You don't want to be wasting a bunch of material, but also you can change a tip last minute if you need to, and that is incredibly helpful. Let's see. Okay, this comes out just a little bit more readily. That looks good. All right. So I'm just doing a little ring. Around each of these. And as I said, in the middle, we're going to have some of that apple pie filling. Just going right around the edge. Think if you're doing, see, can you see those? Let's get these moved up just a little bit so you can see what I'm working on. Okay. And I'm going to move the camera down just a little bit so you get a little bit closer to the action, huh? If I can. It's a little too tough, and that's going to mess this one up. So I'll show you shortly, but you can see what some of these look like right now. There are the first round, and in the middle there we're going to have a little bit of apple pie filling. Okay. If you want to try to be hands-free, it looks like you can just kind of start to pipe it, and the pressure from the piping bag is going to move the shell around just a little bit. I think it's a little easier to go by hand. Also, I think it's easier to just use plain buttercream. That is one thing. This this apple pie stuff is nice, but it's also just a little bit too stiff. Try not to beat up all these reusable bags. Okay. Now this is of course not a class all on piping or anything like that, but I'd like to try practicing a few piping techniques and things like that in the future too. I don't do a lot of cake making, not a lot of occasions to make an entire cake for, especially pandemic times, you know, but okay. So we've got our little bit of apple pie filling. to scoop just a tiny bit of that into each of these. Okay, and here's kind of a close-up of what we're working with here. This is one macaroon, right? Want to become famous? Well, look at that. I can become famous. Incredible. I'm doing just a tiny bit, a little bit of apple stuff right in the middle of each of these. And after these are done, and our macaroons should be out soon, we are nearing the end of our broadcast, but really briefly, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll show you what these look like when you press them together, okay? So here's your macaroon. You think of the Sandlot, right? You take your mallow, and you take the graham. I'm sure Mayor Sheriff knows that by heart. But you take it together, squish it down carefully. Maybe a twist is better than a squish. There's your macaron, right? Overview. Yo, Sergeant Power Glove, hype. Sergeant Power Glove, if you didn't see, there's a chat person that wants me to be famous. Hey, thanks very much. Yeah, I am pretty satisfied with these. Again, here is we got our apple pie spice buttercream and our apple pie filling in the middle, and then we're going to give it a slight twist and squish, and there you have a nice macaron. Gotta smash them. Some more of what? You're killing me, Smalls. Yes, indeedy do. Let's see how much time we got left on those. Squishing down another one here. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I'm happy with these. They're kind of large and in charge, but so am I. Okay, look at that. That's like a nice little cheeseburger of deliciousness. Wonderful apple pie French macaron cheeseburger. Okay. Diddly-do there, neighborino. How much time we got left? 32 seconds on the macaroons, okay? So I'll show those to you when they come out, and then I'm going to take a quick break. So let's try and get the rest of these sealed up. No more fancy presentations. What we're doing right now is the Lord's work. We're putting our sandwiches together. Put our sandwich where our mouth is, huh? That's really what you want, is the apple pie filling not to come out of the sides, because you just want that nice traditional look on the outside. Oh no! Distracted by the timer. Okay. And here we've got 4, 8, 12 macarons. Not all standing perfectly straight, but take a look at that. Freeze frame that moment, because that's beautiful. That's a beautiful macaron. I'm very proud of those. And I don't know, a little wobbly guys. Let's get our macaroons out of here. Oh yeah. Talk about beautiful. Look at these. Look at those beautiful coconutty concoctions, lightly golden brown on top. We're going to dip those in chocolate. As soon as we come back in about 5 minutes, Thank you everybody for staying tuned. We got maybe 20 more minutes left, 15 more minutes left in the stream after this quick break before we call it a day. Hello everybody, I'm back. We're back with Baker Dave. I see Sergeant Power Glove has posted a clip. Thank you very much. I'm excited to watch that. I'm also excited to make clips of this episode and my previous episode on bagels, make some highlights that I'm going to put up. So we finished our apple pie macarons, and I think they look very nice. I would sell half of these. The rest I would eat myself. I would give none to my dogs. It's important to know. But yeah, we've got our coconut macaroons, the fun ones on the other side. Now these you're really supposed to let cool completely before you dip in the chocolate. We're going to expedite that process just a little bit. Expedite? We're going to hurry up that process just a little bit. Because we are live. So, in doing so, what does my grandpa say? My grandpa always says, given the circumstances. So, given the circumstances of this live show, we're going to move a couple things. We're going to get this baking book out of the way. Our Baking Bible by Mark Bittman. Bittman's Baking Bible. Baking Dave, a baking buddy to Bittman's Baking Bible. And we're going to prep the table so that we can put our hot tray on there. Hot tray! We got some more chocolate that we're slowly heating up in the microwave. And this is going to be what we dip our macaroons in. See, these guys are a little bit soft. Looks like these ones drooped just a little bit. But got a nice golden brown bottom. Isn't that beautiful? See that wonderful, beautiful tastiness? And even if the bottom didn't look nice and beautiful, it doesn't fully matter because we are going to cover it in chocolate. So step one, I'm going to push this back just a little bit. Hopefully I don't completely destroy the microphone. Okay, we're going to get these macaroons on the cooling rack, and we're going to go to the rack and back, right? Taking the macaroons. You should come off relatively easily. Got a couple of them sticking. As I say, we're going rack and back. We're going to take, the chocolate ones are coming off really nicely. These ones are beautiful, and I can't wait to try those. Double chocolate. Oh. It's gonna be so good. Oh yeah. Really good. Again. So these didn't get a ton of height, but these ones did get some pretty good height to them. Alright, we got just a couple sticking. That's okay. Okay, and we're going to flip this parchment paper over, and we're going to reuse the other side as we dip these things in chocolate. Chocolade. Stretch just a little bit. Okay, our chocolate is probably melty enough. It's certainly too hot to touch the cup for any extended amount of time. So, what I am going to do, and what I sometimes do if I'm dipping anything in chocolate and I know that it's too hot to set up at room temperature, what I'm going to do is got a notification there. Windows Defender summary. So I melted the chocolate. I'm going to dip them, put them back on the tray. I'm going to put the tray in the fridge, and then we're done. Our day here is over. Let's see. Yeah, we're still streaming, baby. One hour and 50 minutes. Give it a quick little drop, and I think what I want to do, I don't know what I want to do. Quick drop in the chocolate, then we're going to set it back down on the tray. But I think, to continue that thought, I don't want a huge, we're going to put this in just a little bit longer. So instead of dipping the macaroons into the chocolate, I'm going to take the knife and just do a little bit on the bottom. I think that's going to give us a better coat. You can probably hear my beautiful pit bull barking in the background. She's barking at the neighbor dog. She's so vicious. But she's also such a baby. The old 1-2 drop-a-roo. Let's see. Woo. Okay. Alright, we got some hot chocolate. And we're just gonna draw some on the back of these. They call it chocolate dipped. We're just gonna do chocolate covered, right? So I'm putting some chocolate on the bottom. I'm gonna put them back on the parchment paper. It'll set up in the fridge. Oh, my beautiful baby dogs are currently, oh, they're playing. Okay, they look like they're fighting. Yeah, they're fighting. So I'm just taking some chocolate, putting it on the bottom of these. That's gonna balance out some of that coconut flavor. Nice and tasty. Let's just get it rolling here, huh? Oh, it really sounds like they're going for it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to stop my dogs from killing each other. I'll be right back. She is going wild. She's just crazy. You can hear her romping around the house. Oh my gosh, she's so wild. She's got to run around the entire home. Here she comes now. She is just wild. Okay, some of these are super chocolatey. Some of these are not super chocolatey. Get a little bit of variety going on here. Okay. So, I'm going to finish up these last few. I'll have to let make a little bit more chocolate. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. She's insane. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming in. We made apple pie macarons. We made some chocolate and regular coconut macaroons. No time for macaroni today, but I want to thank everybody for coming in. I think next week, I don't know, I'm kind of somewhere between. I might do some cupcakes. I might try to go even further into the fall stuff. Maybe do some pumpkin, I don't know, is pumpkin spice too played out at this point? I do like mocha stuff. I've seen a little bit of that lately. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me. We've had 2 hours together in this kitchen, and I'm going to do some cleaning up, some wrapping up. I'm going to eat some of this. And again, thank you, Mayor Sheriff, Sergeant Powerglove, Pumpkin Brick, you know, everybody else who stopped in. I know I saw Daddy Dino. Let's see. I know we saw... Where is Hurrytron? Hurrytron! Thank you for coming in again. Pumpkin bread, not brick. Okay. Yeah, pumpkin bread would be great. Oh, thanks very much. I appreciate y'all coming in. I'm going to go ahead and try to raid Dr. Damien. It's his birthday. He's doing a birthday stream. So let's try to get this party going over there. And yeah, I'll see y'all next Sunday. Have a great Sunday. All right, here comes the raid. Let's see if I can do this right. I know last time I tried this for Sergeant Powerglove, I ended up like double rating. So let's see if this is it. Did I do it? No. One more try. Let's try that. No. Oh, thank you for the emojis, Sergeant Powerglove. As I sit in the background trying to figure out how to accurately raid someone else's channel. There we go. I got it. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor Sheriff. I kept saying it doesn't matter. Either way, thanks again. Signing off. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great time.